It's only what the third time that we've tried this today. They say third time's the charm. So I mean, let's get started. What time is it, Megan?
It's tin hat time. Tin
It's
hat
tin hat
time.
time.
This has been
Tin
so
hat
frustrating.
time. Take three, you guys. Dear listeners, you don't even know the bullshit. Like, I'm currently recording off of my phone, so I apologize if I sound like I'm in a distant cavern miles and miles away. But I wonder if something out there did not want us to
Yeah.
discuss what
Yeah,
we're
well,
about to discuss today.
it's a good theory. It's a good theory.
Yeah.
This week we are talking about the missing 411, not the 411 like I thought it was.
Missing 411, as in
Yeah.
like information.
Yeah, like the missing information, like there's a missing link, is basically what it is. So,
Cool.
the missing 411 started through a guy named David Paulides. Paulides.
Paladin.
I literally wrote it out phonetically. I'm really mad at myself. I wrote it out phonetically for myself next to his name, like you did the other week, and it's like I
Yeah,
to
I
fuck it up.
still did it wrong.
Um,
Still managed to fuck it the fuck up. Cool.
Yeah, that's okay. But David
Good for you.
Paulides, so he is a retired police officer. He'd been in like the police force for 20 plus years. Um, and I don't know exactly how he started noticing these things, but he started noticing that people were going missing and the missing cases were really strange. And that the US government does not keep a list of people who go missing in national parks.
Huh.
Uh, and
Wait,
so,
wait. They don't keep a list of people who go missing in the national parks?
yeah, there's no. Didn't you already know that? I thought you knew that.
No.
Um, yeah, so they don't keep any list of people for whatever reason. They literally have a list on their website that he talks about of all of the movies that have been shot in national parks.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but they have no list of missing persons. So, and then I think what started this is he was interested in someone who went missing, like either he was like investigating it personally, whatever. But he while researching a missing persons case, he asked the National Park Service for a list of missing persons, and they're like, yeah, we don't have one. And then like he kind of pressured them about it, and they're like, yeah, if you want one, it's going to cost like 1.6 million um
Why?
to do that because of the labor
To
involved.
compile that data?
Yeah, to put it all together. So
Like,
um
I feel like that's something you should be compiling as it's happening, you know?
yeah.
Like, if fuckers are going missing, you like, oh man. Ooh, this
Well,
took
yeah,
a
I mean,
darker turn like really quick. Like, I didn't realize that they didn't have.
yeah, I mean, you would think that even just to keep track of like, the bears in Glacier National, Park, that like bear attacks and things like that, you think you would keep track of missing persons, to see if there was some link or anything, or whatever it is. You track crime. So like the other thing that I learned is that the National Park Service also has special agents, usually about two or more, depending on the park, assigned to each park. So they're like super rangers, right? Like they're not they're
So
just
they're
like a step up, but they're detectives basically that are
they're like
supposed to
Aragorn, Ranger of the North, kind of a ranger. Are they
not
that
quite,
kind of like secret,
not
or are they like secret agent ranger,
secret agent.
agent ranger?
No, so they are not like, super rangers necessarily. They're basically just detectives that are assigned to investigate issues or whatever it is that comes up in the park. They're supposed to look into it.
Okay.
And
Are they
you would
sleeping on their
think,
jobs?
what?
Are they sleeping on their jobs?
I don't know. It kind of sounds like it. Either that or there's something that the US government does not want us to know, right? That is the other
Yeah,
question, I guess.
that's where I went
Um
to immediately.
Yeah. So, anywho, god damn it, I just said anywho. I can't help it. I can't help myself. Um,
I'm gonna
but
make you the stickers.
uh but anywho, David, he's written 8 books about this topic, right? And the 8 books he's compiled are basically all cases. It's basically like a case file. He referenced everything, like he is extremely thorough about his research and he doesn't speculate about anything that's going on. He just is like, this is the info. I don't know what it is, but it's something weird. Um, that he talks about. So very strange stuff. There's 3 movies, 2 movies for
Like
sure that are just
documentaries or
basically what?
documentaries or like horror films.
So there's 2, I don't know about horror films, but there's 2 documentaries. Can you move a little
Okay.
closer to your phone
Yeah.
so I can hear
Yeah.
you better?
You want me
Thank
to
you.
you want me to sneak in a little bit closer?
Yeah, just get all up in there. So
Come a little closer, baby.
yeah, exactly. But no, there's 2 documentaries that have been done, and then he references a third one. I don't know if you watched it or not. It was like Vanished. I think it's on Amazon or Netflix.
Oh,
Um, and it got
I
popular.
started to watch it.
Okay, so that's how we
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't watch Vanished. I didn't know about it. I watched um Missing 411 and then Missing 411 The Hunted. Um and they are literally just like, here's 3 strange cases, goes into detail about it, and they're bizarre. I mean, it's people who vanish without a trace. The Missing 411, like the first one, was done in 2017, and that one is
Mm-hmm.
just about missing children, children that have
Uh,
just like straight up just poof, like they just disappear. Um, and then the
like,
Missing 411, The Hunted, that one is about hunters, like experienced hunters that disappear without a
hmm.
trace. And I mean, when I say without a trace, I really mean like there's no shoes, no drag marks, no, for the hunters, no guns, no walkie-talkies, like nothing found until, like later on in the search, but nothing in the area that they disappear from. Um, so really
I've heard
bizarre.
of. Tell me if you read anything about this, but like that there's some cases of like there was like something where like this little boy went missing and he was found like 30 kilometers away or something. Like he was alive, but like found like this crazy distance away and like way too short of a time to have gotten there.
I don't know about any child that was found alive. I do know of one that was in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, and they talk about in the first documentary, and I've heard it in a
Mhm.
couple different podcasts where um, a boy is on a hike with a large group of people, and he's running ahead or whatever, and he vanishes. He like straight up disappears. Nobody can find him, and then some of his remains, but not all of them, are found about 500 feet uphill, um, from where he disappeared. And it's not like consistent things. It was like one shoe that was found. By the way, this stuff was found 4 years after he went missing. 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if they ever went uphill. I think that they did, but like a lot of what makes these cases so strange is that either their stuff or their bodies are found after the area has been searched extensively. So it's really bizarre that it's like they searched an area and then all of a sudden, now they found the body or, a body part or whatever. So like with this little boy, if that's is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, I think I just gave it a happier ending in my brain.
Yeah. Um all they found was a single tooth and like the top of his skull.
Oh my God.
And a shoe and I think his like sweater that he was wearing.
Jesus.
Um and they say like, hey, probably a mountain lion, but there's no signs of animal predation, which you'll probably hear me say a bunch, because that is what one of the case markers or the profile, there has to be no signs of animal predation, which means no predator came and got these people. And
Snatched him.
with that, you um, tend to see like bloody crime scenes. Like think of a bear attack, anything like that. You
Oh,
see scattering of bones and limbs and those types of things, and you didn't see that with
I
this.
mean, I've seen deer and elk that have been ripped apart by a bear or a mountain lion, and they're just scattered.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of viscera.
Yeah.
It's very
And
charming.
there's none of that. And I mean, even if you think about, like the little boy in Colorado who goes missing, nobody heard anything. Like if a big cat say grabbed him, you would hear
Oh,
that
you would hear
kid
that. You'd hear the kids
shrieking.
screaming.
Like, and that's the thing, is none of these people, they tend to be near large groups, and they vanish with no sound, like just literally nothing. um
Ooh, I've got something fun for speculation time.
yeah. So here, let me go through my little list of like kind of like the profile stuff, like
Uh-huh.
either common stuff that happens that kind of puts them in this category. So
Yes.
this tends to happen in national parks or in heavily isolated wilderness, right?
Like public
um
lands, kind of a thing,
yep,
like just out in
exactly.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, most of them are.
Most of Idaho.
Yeah, actually, a lot are found in Idaho, Colorado, Montana is a big one. Not very commonly found in coastal areas. It's
Interesting.
like it's desert. Also, I guess Santa Fe is a big little location. There's an
Huh.
area outside of Santa Fe,
And who do we
Glacier
know
National
who loves
Park.
the desert?
Yeah. The biggest, I think it's like the biggest location of missing persons though is in Yosemite. Um, so
That's that just
a
gave me like weird chills. I don't know why, but like
yeah.
they gave me really weird chills.
Yeah, so one of the things that is a common theme is that these people either disappear or their bodies are found near a lot of boulders, like granite boulders,
Uh-huh.
usually near a body of water. So whether it's a river, a lake, pond, whatever, um, they a lot of the times are near reservations. So, you know, cursed white people. So I don't blame them.
I mean,
Um, Makes sense.
get on.
The bodies are normally found, if they are found, in places that had been previously searched and combed over. And then the other weird thing is that, usually dogs are brought in to track scents, or cadaver dogs are brought in to like try to
Yeah,
find a body. They either can find no scent, or they find it and they lose it very quickly. But basically,
weird.
they can't find it, and like
Like they
with
can't find like a trail to follow.
yeah, exactly, right? So like with that little
Weird.
boy in Colorado, they brought dogs in and the dogs couldn't find it. I mean, his remains were found 500 feet up. I mean,
Like you'd think
that's
that
close enough in distance.
he should have been able to. The dog should have been able to smell him
Exactly, and they couldn't. So,
because like
um
we know dogs.
very strange, very strange. A lot. Another like I thought was kind of funny. Maybe it's not funny, but another sort of funny part is a lot of German descent. So a lot of people who are of German
Huh.
descent um, tend to get taken, but I like to think of it as Germans are like the number one immigrant to the U.S., like white immigrant. Um,
Did you
and
did you look that up or are you
I did.
speculating?
No, that's from the
Oh,
Library of Congress. Like
oh, cool.
they are like from, I think it's like from like 1897 or something to like 2004 or something. Like people of German descent are like that's like the number one immigrant. So if you think about like our families or whatever, like we're several generations into being Americans.
Yeah,
Um, but so a lot of white people in the US just have German descent in them. So
cool.
also, I think if you think about not a lot of people of color, I don't think, go to national parks because they can be somewhat dangerous. You know, it's white territory. I mean, in a lot of ways, and it's so fucked up to say, but like not all areas of the US are safe for people of color to travel
Or
in.
welcoming, or yeah, it's a massive
Exactly.
bummer. It's
So I think those two are kind of tied together as far as like why a lot of this happens to like white people or people of German descent. Um, but I mean, not all of them, right?
not
It's
the
not all of them.
hills.
What?
It's not the hills trying to get theirs for World War II or anything.
I mean, I don't know, maybe. Like, but I think that is kind of like, I think that is kind
Okay.
of like a logical reason to sort of explain away why it happens to predominantly white people.
Or the fact that there are a lot more like what do you call it? Like the Fae, the wee folk, that kind of stuff that are
Hmm.
from those like countries like that could have been brought over, like, American Gods kind of a style
Yeah,
with
I guess
the
it's totally
belief
possible.
systems and like set up there too,
Yeah.
and like, yeah. Or maybe it's a weird curse.
Yeah, it's totally possible. I mean, if it's near reservations,
It's
right?
honestly probably just racism though.
I mean, I think probably a lot of it is that people of color probably aren't as welcome or, in national parks um, because white people are racist. I mean, there's a lot of just racism. Look at Oregon. Oregon is a huge thing. I didn't realize that Oregon was originally set up as like basically, a land of white people. Like the KKK had a huge, huge influence on the founding of Oregon, which is why it has an incredibly low population of people of color, specifically of black people. So, like incredibly low. So super weird. Um, but yeah, anywho, so on a lighter note of these
Yeah,
people
let's
just disappearing, I kind of wanted to highlight a couple cases that I thought were really weird and interesting and that just kind of I found interesting.
yeah.
So, first one I want to talk about is not talked about in the documentaries. Um, and it's fairly recent. This guy disappeared in 2012.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, so that's the thing. A lot of these they're not like really old, like some of them are. Um, David Politis talks about how he can basically track these strange disappearances for like a couple centuries back. Like this is not like a new thing that's happening. This is still happening. It has been happening for a long period of time. Um, so kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
But so this guy, Sean Rentz, he was 27, disappeared July 28th, 2012. He is from White Bear Lake in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Uh,
Minnesota.
he was found in Arizona. Um, like his car was found, I guess, 2 days later. So it's like 1,500 miles that he was found at Oak Creek
Wait, so
Vista Lookout.
he went missing in Minnesota and then was found in Arizona?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So, he he had family down there, but he didn't contact them at all. He told no one that he was leaving. So nobody knew. I mean, he had like a serious longtime girlfriend, was really tight with his family. Nobody knew that he was missing. Um, so super weird.
So like he
He
didn't say like I'm gonna go hiking for the weekend.
Nope, nothing. Told
Was that like
absolutely nobody.
outside of
Just
his
yeah, just
was
straight up
that a
disappears.
normal thing for him to do? Just to be like, peace out for the weekend. I'm a Sagittarius.
Um, not that I know of. He had no history of mental illness. He didn't drink. He had previously worked at like an old folks home. Like he was a stable dude. He had a fixer-upper house that he was working on renovations for, and he had accepted a new job and taken time off to work on renovations for his house. So like
Hmm.
he had the time off to just disappear if he wanted, but I mean, to travel 1,500 miles, I think the weirdest thing is like you don't tell your girlfriend? Like, you're not like,
Right? Like, I
"Hey,
was just thinking,
yo,"
like, did they
like
live together or
no, I don't think they live together at all. The
I feel like I would notice
strange
if my boyfriend went missing.
Yeah, I think it's weird that he didn't call his girlfriend and let her know at all that he was just going to drive across the country. I mean, it's really bizarre behavior. To add to his bizarre behavior, um, a couple days before this, he was found burning his electronics in his backyard. So that's weird, right? That's like maybe he had a mental break, right? But
Or he was up to some shady ass shit.
maybe. I mean, that's totally possible. Maybe he was drug running or some shit. But also,
Breaking Bad.
I mean, he was doing renovations on his house, so maybe he wasn't just burning electronics. Like, maybe he was burning other shit too. I mean, like, I feel like that's totally possible.
Also, don't I feel like burning electronics is like a big dramatic the FBI will never see my hard
Yeah,
drive
maybe.
move,
I mean, it's
you know?
definitely strange. It's definitely a fucking weird thing to do. Like, you don't really hear about a lot of people burning their old TVs or some shit, in their
God, I bet it
backyard.
smelled awful.
Yeah, right? I'm assuming that's why
Maybe
it
his
was
neighbors
noticeable.
were
That's why someone
super
noticed.
pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I would
um,
be so pissed if my neighbor started a freaking fire, a class Charlie fire next door. I'd be so pissed. I would go to their house and be like, "What are you doing?"
well, yeah, I mean, you gotta think about all the, like, nasty, noxious fumes that are coming off
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Also, I guess if it's not plugged in, it's an alpha fire. But whatever.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The different classifications of fires.
What?
Like a class alpha fire is um like materials like paper or wood or like garbage or something like that. Like a trash can fire would be a class alpha fire. Class Bravo fire is an oil fire, and a Charlie fire is an electronics fire. There's
Is this
different
some
ways to put
military
out.
shit?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay, I was
yeah.
like, "I'm a civilian. I got no fucking idea what you're talking
This is
about."
some Coast Guard because everyone's a firefighter on the ship. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. So
but so he's burning his electronics. That's what I mean. He had a class Charlie fire
yeah, so
happening over
burning
there.
burning his electronics, told no one he was leaving, um, and his car is found 2 days later, at this lookout, basically.
Hmm.
Um, so everybody, like, does massive search, right? They search for about 2 weeks until they are like, "Yeah, we gotta kinda call it," right? We don't know what the fuck happened to him. His body is not found until about 4 months later. It's
Oh shit.
three quarters of a mile away from where he parked his car, um, in an area that was like off of the lookout point that like you couldn't jump to. Like it was like in a really weird spot, I guess. I guess I need to backtrack too. Like they found his backpack located near the lookout, like sort of stuffed in a crevice. Um,
Weird.
still kind of strange. But yeah, where his body was found, there were no clothes, no shoes, basically a skeleton. I mean, he was very, very decomposed. He was like decapitated. Basically, I think that was just like a remains thing. I don't think that it didn't have anything to do with his actual like death.
Oh,
The
okay. Like his head was just like had fallen off of his skeleton body.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Still, that's gruesome.
the the coroner determined his cause of death to be a broken neck, back, and leg, or like
Shit.
broken neck. Um, but Yeah, the biggest thing, the weirdest thing about this case though, is the cops involved said there was absolutely no way he could have like basically jumped or anything to get to where his body was found. Like there was no way
Could he
to
have
get
climbed up
there.
there?
Hmm?
Couldn't have climbed, couldn't have fallen.
Supposedly there was no way to have like realistically gotten to that point. Also, he had no clothes. He had no clothes and shoes on. Like, I think to me that's like the weirdest thing. So he's buck ass naked and dies in a spot that like is basically like he was dropped from the fucking sky. Like that's basically what they heavily hinted at, that where his body was essentially like up on a hill somewhere. It was off the trail. Um, it was
Just
in
in
a
this really weird spot.
it was in a very strange spot. Nowhere
Shit.
that you could have like jumped and then like gotten down into or anything. Um, no like rolling and tumbling down the hill. They said they have no idea how he got to that point. Um, Also, he was naked. Like, why was he naked? You know?
Yeah. Like, did something
I don't
take
know.
his clothes beforehand? Like, was he stripped after he was dead? Is this occult activity somehow? Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's just
what the this
it's
is
strange. It's super weird. I think
yeah.
the other thing is
That's really weird, dude.
they searched the area previously. This is an area they'd already looked in.
And
And
his body
and
was just laid out there.
no, so it wasn't laid out. A dude saw it while hiking. So this dude saw it and was like, "Wow, what's that? That's weird." And it's like this area had already been searched, and then 4 months later somebody finds a heavily decomposed body, and it's like, if his body was decomposing or anything, dogs would have also caught the scent. Like, this was
Yeah.
close enough that someone saw it off the trail in a strange
Is this
spot.
another case where the dogs didn't get a scent?
Correct. So I mean, they didn't find the body. The dogs, they didn't find the body until 4 months later. Like, it's very bizarre. It's a very hard to explain case. um
Like, cause like I want to say, the woods are big, the woods are wild, weird shit. I mean, I guess weird shit happens in the woods.
Yeah, but this is Sedona, Arizona. I mean, it's high desert
It's
basically.
the wilderness.
It's the wilderness. Yeah, but it's not like it is somewhat wooded, but it's not like really heavily.
It's kind of
Um,
scrubby.
yeah, more shrubby sort of an area.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's strange. Obviously, like there's stuff that I only got a snapshot of this case, so I don't really know like
Snapchat about it.
detail. Yeah, I got a Snapchat about it, so it went away after 3 seconds. Um, but I wonder if they found any of his clothes, right? Like if they were in the backpack or something. Like he took off his clothes and was like, "I'm gonna have some spiritual experience in the desert." Sort of a weird thing, but
Mm-hmm.
like that
He was
makes me
on drugs
wonder.
or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just but he had no
Really?
history of drinking, doing drugs. Like he was a pretty straight edge, stable dude. Like he was renovating his house, it's not like a suicide. Like he had stuff to look forward to. Like there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a reason he would have just honestly even driven 1,500 miles away from his house
That's
with not telling anyone.
that's the really weird part to me. Because like why?
Yeah, there's
Why
no
did he do
explanation.
that? That's so
No
strange.
note, nothing. No reason to do it.
It's
So,
so odd.
yeah. Um are you ready for another case?
Yes.
Okay, so this one's been talked about, I think, pretty extensively. It is something that they talk about in the Missing 411, The Hunted. Um,
Ooh.
if you guys haven't seen either of the documentaries, I highly suggest them. They're so good. Um, they're really just case profiles of this stuff. But
Yeah.
um, anywho, so this one they talk about. This is Thomas Messick. He was 82, and he disappeared November 15th, 2015.
Oh
Um,
shit.
and he disappeared from upstate New York, a little bit higher up than like Albany. Shout out Kelly. Um, he was found, or he was missing. He went missing in Lily Pond, or near Lily Pond in the Lake George Wild Forest. He went on a hunting trip with family, all that. Him and the other old men that were in the camping or the hunting party, they decided to hunt off the road. So they walked into the woods about 50 yards or so, set up chairs, whatever. And four old men, um, set up to hunt. So they're about 50 yards apart from each other, about 50 yards from the road. So it's like they
So they're
walked
not
in.
far.
They're not far from the road at all. Um the younger guys in their hunting party went up the hill and about a mile or so to like drive the deer down to the older guys so they could hunt, right? So this
Gotcha.
was not like a we're gonna go out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere, but like they're right off of a dirt
But like
road.
they're in the middle of nowhere, the way it's like the middle of nowhere driving up to Stanley or something from Boise.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's still off of a road.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a dirt road. It's like I think
It's not dead in the heart of the Alaskan wilderness.
correct, right? They're not going on a hiking trail, they're going off of a road. And so, the other guys go you know, to push the deer down or whatever. Um and basically they have no luck. Nobody sees any wildlife at all while they're there. No squirrels, no nothing. Absolutely nothing. No birds. They saw no wildlife at all. And they all
That
thought it was
is,
it's kind of weird.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I really, really, really don't care for that.
Yeah. So they eventually meet up, right? At the agreed upon meeting time. And Tom's missing, right? Thomas is missing. They don't know where he is. Um, this dude had a missing eye. He had, hearing aids. He had some heart problems. But, with that in mind and him being 82, it's obvious why he just went 50 yards in to sit down to hunt.
Yeah.
Um, he wasn't capable of going very far, basically. He was a seasoned hunter. He taught hunting courses and
Hmm.
survival courses. So, I mean, this
Okay.
dude, although old and disabled, he knew what was up about being in the wilderness. He had a walkie talkie with him, he had a rifle with him, hunting, obviously,
Obviously.
and he had a little snack. And
I bet you anything. It was Vienna sausages and saltines.
I think it was a Snickers. In the documentary, it looked like a Snickers. Like that was his snack, which makes me hungry.
That's
I
really cute.
I would eat a little Snickers. Yeah, so like just little old man shit.
Yeah.
And he vanished without a trace. Literally. They have no idea what happened to him. Um they did a like 5-mile search around the area with like 300 plus volunteers. They gridded it out with string and like went through and like it was very extremely thorough and they found no trace whatsoever. Not no rifle, no candy wrapper. He never used his walkie-talkie to call anybody. I mean, this is even like if you think about maybe he had a heart attack or whatever, they would have found him. No drag
Right.
marks, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like he just bink gone. Just gone. Um
Fuck, dude.
yeah, I mean like that's that's super strange.
That is
That's
so scary. It's so scary.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
uh, like I don't know if they thought someone kidnapped him, but like as far as I know there weren't even any like tire tracks of anyone else to like
And why would somebody kidnap him?
yeah, I mean he was a little old man, like he had nothing to offer them. So,
Yeah.
um
That's not true, Megan. He had his stories. He had lived a life. He had a lot to offer. That was rude.
I mean,
Ageist of you.
you're right. I'm sorry. I don't mean it in the sense of like, but it's not like he was carrying a duffel bag full of money. I mean,
You don't know Tom's life.
Tom was a well-liked guy, he had no reason to just disappear without a
Clearly
trace.
ran afoul of something
I,
somewhere.
I mean, something obviously happened to him, but yeah, no idea what it was. The other thing to add an
Oh,
extra
God.
layer of mystery to this is the buddy that was, I believe, closest to him heard a very weird noise before he went missing. So while they were all sitting doing their hunting stuff, When he's being interviewed in the documentary, he says he's like, I literally can't explain it. I have no idea what
Did
the
he
noise
make the
was.
noise?
I don't think that he did. I think he said it sounded like almost like a steel trap being shut, sort of a
Ah,
thing. Um, but is in his like 40, 50 plus years of being an experienced hunter and woodsman, he's never heard anything like that in the woods before. He's
it's the
never heard that
Squatch.
sound.
It's the
Sasquatch?
Squatch.
Did you say Sasquatch?
No, I just said it's the Squatch, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Sasquatch.
So it's funny that you mentioned that too, because David Paulides, he also is like a
He's pretty into
founder.
the
He's
Sasquatch.
really into the Sasquatch, dude. He has like a whole Bigfoot website and all that. And
Yeah,
he
that
tries
seems to
not to
be
intermix that. Do
his
what?
main theory for it. That seems to be his main theory for it.
He doesn't know, so he never claims a theory. He never once claims a theory for it.
I've
He
got a theory.
he actively avoids it. I
Hmm.
listened to a couple different interviews with him. I mean, I watched a couple documentaries. Um and he actively refuses to claim anything because he says it'll completely invalidate all of the work that he's done. I mean, he's put in a tremendous amount of work into these case files. Um and they're very strange. There's
Yeah.
no reason for these people to just, basically blink off the earth. Um, the other strange
Well, there
thing,
has to be a reason.
well, the FBI got involved in the Thomas Mezek case.
What did they find?
I don't know if you know, but the FBI typically does not get involved with missing adults. They'll get involved with missing children, but for the most part, unless there is um,
They have to
signs
like
of a
cross state.
crime.
Yeah, they have to like cross state lines or something, right? Something.
Yeah, so that's like more with like murder cases, right? Like you have
Oh,
to
okay.
cross state lines and stuff, but like they typically do not get involved with basically any missing persons. Like if it's a child, they get involved, but they don't get involved usually with missing adults that disappeared on a hunting trip. I mean, this is
Yeah, this
not like a
isn't
high
FBI
profile
stuff.
guy. Uh, you
Not like
know,
he was the governor of New York or something. He
exactly.
went missing on a hunting trip.
The most I could find that could kind of explain why the FBI would have gotten involved is because there was maybe a lack of jurisdiction because it was in, sort of a wild area as, in the wilderness. Um, not quite, I don't know if it was a state park or not, but
Or a national park.
yeah, you know what I mean. Um, so there isn't like there's not really a good explanation why they showed up, and they didn't really contribute to anything, and they wouldn't really disclose any information. So
Interesting.
it was probably Sam and Dean that showed up. They
Oh, for
probably
sure.
like
100%.
it kind of sounds like it. Like they're just like two guys show up and
I
are
was just
like,
thinking
wow,
it's
this
like
is
it's
strange
Sam and Dean.
circumstances. He
Yep.
disappeared like for no
It sounds like
reason.
the
Just
sound. I was
oh
just gonna say it sounds like the Wendigo.
yeah, right. Well, I mean,
It's in the right area for it.
it's in the right area and like it's very strange. I mean, do you want to start wildly speculating about it? Cuz I would love to
Um,
wildly speculate.
yes, and then I want to tell my story.
Oh, yes. Oh, you tell me yours first. Then we'll wildly
Okay.
speculate.
Okay, so there was a time that I thought that this had happened.
What do you mean?
That the disappearance had happened. I thought like so I
Like
was
you disappeared?
no, not me, somebody I was with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not
So I
me.
was with my roommate
God damn it, it
and
is
her
me.
ex-boyfriend and one of her friends who had come in to visit, and we were all going to go find a hot springs.
God, it is the right area too. I could have been one of the missing.
Yeah, yeah. So you know the story. Megan and her darling city slicker friend Kelly. Hi Kelly, I love you. I hold no ill will. Um and your terrible ex-boyfriend. Yeah, yeah. We will leave off his name because he doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Tried to go find some hot springs, and we were in the spot where it seemed like where hot springs would be. Like just couldn't find the sign. And then we decided that we were just going to wander up into the woods. And some of us had been in the woods before. Some of us were not good at being in the woods. Were we, Megan?
I mean, I'm still alive, so technically I was good at it.
No, I know. It just made me laugh because when you brought up like yeah, let's do the missing 411, I was like, so like how you were almost one of them that time. And like that was like low key me in my brain being like, cool, Megan's been snatched.
Yeah.
Cause like we couldn't hear anything. And like that's another thing though that's weird about like the ones that would have happened in Colorado or the Rockies or in like terrain that was similar to where we were in the Sawtooths, right? Was that kind of what we were up in? Were we headed that way? What mountains were we in that
We were in
day?
the Boise Mountains. So this happened outside of Boise. And so
Yeah.
the Boise Mountains is what they're called.
Okay.
So,
Cool. The
or they're
Boise
like
National.
the Cascades, like that's, but yeah, I think technically they're the Boise Mountains.
Okay. Yeah, because it was
I
definitely in the
could be
Boise
wrong.
first.
I could
But
definitely be wrong.
yeah. So like while we were up there and your dumb ass was just missing, you broke the cardinal rule of being in the woods, which is if you're the first person, you take one step and look back. You take a couple steps, you look back. You just keep looking back.
I didn't realize you guys were so fucking slow. So,
You are supposed to go the pace of the slowest person. You're not supposed to just charge off into the woods where you could be eaten by anything, DeLuca.
I could
But
have been, but I wasn't. So,
you weren't. And by the time you don't even fucking understand. We were in the woods and Megan was just gone. Like she was just gone. And I was
right before
so scared.
dusk.
Right, like at dusk, like in the
Yeah.
Boise National Forest, where there are moose, which doesn't sound scary, but they'll fuck you up. There are
Are there moose
bears.
in that area?
Yeah, dude. There's fucking mountain lions. There
I
are
know
critters.
that.
Do you?
I didn't realize there was moose right there, though. I didn't think that there was moose in
Yeah,
that area.
yeah. I've seen moose there.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a
Interesting.
little high five little baby guy, but that's scary because the mama's around. Um, and she'll
Anywho,
eat you. Anywho, yeah. So I thought Megan was lost in the woods and dead forever, and I dragged her and Kelly, or I dragged Kelly back down to the truck, and I had to yell at Kelly when she yelled in the woods for breaking her nail. And I had to lose my mind on her. I love you so much, Kelly. This is a hysterical and amazing story. But I was just so scared that you were dead. Or I was like, we're going to have to call the Bureau of Land Management. We're going to have to get a helicopter. Like, we're going to be up here. Like, I have to call her mom. And then we get down there,
you
and
didn't
your
have to.
dumb ass is just sitting on the back of the truck, like, hi, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I
Hi. What
walked
took
just
you?
back towards the road. I mean, like, the thing is this whole thing happened like directly off of the road. So what happened is we
Right.
got
But
the
exactly where
wrong
Tom went missing, though.
mile marker. It's true, but our road was paved, whereas his road was a road off of the main road. You know,
Got you. Right.
like,
Ours was right off the highway.
yeah.
However, it was still terrible. And I still thought you were dead in the woods. And we got down there and you're just like, hey, how's it going? Nah, I'm Megan. I swear to God, I thought I was going to kill you. I
Oh,
thought I was going to hit you in the face.
that's so funny.
But that was the time that I thought that my friend got snatched by the Fae in the woods.
No, I didn't. I wasn't even taken by a cougar or anything.
Thank God.
Yeah. I think it's so
Cougar or Fae, who would you rather be taken by?
what'd you say by the Fae or
Or a cougar?
oh shit.
Did you lose me?
No, I
No.
didn't. No, my phone popped up because Kelly is actually trying to call me. It's so funny.
Ah, her ears are burning. She knew we were talking about her.
I know,
Kelly.
but like it jumped out of my Zoom call is
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. So,
Uh,
but no, I mean the thing is I walked up the hill, right, and then realized nobody was behind me, and so I just started walking back down the hill. Um, so I just didn't realize how far I'd gone, basically, and um, I was slightly, well, probably a little intoxicated, but sorry, mom. Um,
yeah, whatever. It's fine.
but I had a big jug of iced tea with me.
No, I remember. And you were throwing it down the hill to try to make a racket.
Yeah, I figured I would make a lot of noise because I would throw it like 50
But
feet
that,
or
okay,
whatever,
so
and
that
then
kind
just
of
like
brings me
walk to it. And then I
back
would
to like kind
throw
of,
it 50 feet. And the other idea behind it too, was while I was doing it, was like, well, it's a loud enough fucking noise that if there is an animal, it would be like, whoa, that sounds like a big fucking animal, and like bigger than me, sort of a thing. And it would
yeah,
just
I
like
could fuck
go
off.
away.
Yeah.
So
Because most animals hear something and they're like, I don't want to investigate that.
pretty much, yeah. So
Yeah. But yeah, but one of the like the weird thing about like that area with like the hills and like the little valleys and like the folds of the mountain is
Mhm.
that you were probably 12 feet away from us, if that. We couldn't hear you and we couldn't see you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like
crazy.
you were not that far away,
Yeah.
but we could not hear or see you or each other after a certain point.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you guys split up with said ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he even had a firearm too, so if
I
something
know. He
happened,
gave it to me in case I had to shoot at something.
yeah. So which is crazy. So it's funny too, like so David Paulides talks about, you know, to be safe essentially in the wilderness because this shit does happen is that you should have a personal locating beacon and then a firearm because there's no cases of someone not being found or being found unalived um with those two
The debt.
items. Yeah. So, um which is pretty crazy. He said like there's only one or two instances where somebody had a personal locator beacon and they were found dead. It's usually because they didn't have a firearm. So,
And they got
um,
eat by something
yeah,
at.
I think so. I think they're something either that or broken leg or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, he said those two things would be vital to
Hmm.
have. And I do think it's interesting that these people vanished without a trace, right? Um, he said, that doesn't happen to people with firearms. It did. It fucking did though to one dude. One dude did vanish. He didn't have a personal locator beacon, but
I thought Tom had a firearm.
Tom did have a firearm. But nobody ever has both. That's the thing. Nobody ever has
Oh, okay,
a
okay, okay.
personal locator beacon and a
And a
firearm,
firearm.
right? But it's weird that some of them have walkie-talkies and guns, but they don't have the personal locator beacon. Either because they think they're in an area where it doesn't matter, right? Like Tom, you would have no reason to have one, right? You're 50 yards from the road, you're 50 yards from your buddy. I mean, they had a walkie-talkie where he could just, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's no reason to have that. But there's one guy who did disappear, and details on this one are super hazy. But he goes missing. They search and search and search. They eventually find his shoes in a location and like sort of like a makeshift camp sort of a thing. And it's an area that they'd previously searched, and his shoes are just set out like side by side, like set. Um, Later on down, this path of where they think he went, there is a thermos and like set up like somebody was taking a drink. Like they pulled out their thermos to take a drink and sit down. Um, they don't find his remains for like 2 years. Um,
Shit.
2 years. They're like 12 miles from where his shoes were found, which is bizarre.
Really weird.
Really bizarre. It happened by a river, heavily wooded area. Um, the absolute
Weird.
strangest part though is his backpack was found 2 years later, um, resting against a tree. His body was found somewhat close to where his backpack was. He had a firearm, snacks, like all this shit was in his backpack. And this was overlooking a valley where you could see buildings. Like, so if he did die there for whatever reason, right, with his backpack resting against a tree, he should have been able to see um basically people fire off a couple rounds, like the three rounds in very close succession or whatever.
Bang,
that
bang, bang. That's the
that's
somebody
the
come help.
hunters um uh basically like help me cry or SOS, right?
Yeah.
Is three shots close together. He had the ammo for it, he had the gun. So it's really weird. And why would he take off his shoes, hike basically 12 miles in 2 feet of snow? By the way, he disappeared. It was warm, then it snowed. I can't remember the area he was in, but it was in Montana or something, I think. Um, Oh, that's what it was. Yes, he was in Montana. He was in Montana. He was in the mountain range, the Crazies,
Oh,
which is
cool.
actually um, in between like Billings and Bozeman, and so it's
Okay.
actually I've been to the area, and I've seen these mountains, and they're the weird part about the Crazies is that they are an isolated mountain range, like basically like prairie land, whatever, farms, fields, whatever, and then there's like just whoop, just like a little bit of mountains, and
Mhm.
like it's so strange though that he was found um, in this area where he overlooked buildings and he didn't do anything to basically save himself.
Like, unless he had like a heart attack or something.
Yeah, but why would he hike 12 miles without shoes on?
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's fucking bizarre.
Yeah,
Dude, what
it's super weird.
the
There's a
hell is going
lady,
on in the woods, man?
so that was one of
Like,
the
it's still tripping me out that the Forest Service doesn't have a list of the
yeah.
people who have gone missing in their fucking places.
I
Like,
think that they've
hello?
started one since basically the 411 got a lot of recognition. So I want to say that they've
Got the
started one.
411 out about it.
So, but I mean, that one trips me out too.
That's all of it is so weird. I
Yeah.
know a story about this one's a massive bummer, but a little boy in Idaho
Oh, the
who
one in Idaho
was,
Falls.
yeah, yeah, who was like 18 months old or something like that, 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And literally no trace of him has ever been found.
Yeah, they
Like, I
talk about that one in
remember,
the first documentary.
yeah, I remember when they found that bone. Nick was telling me about that too, because like it was a big deal. Like
Did
the
they
search
did they
for
find the
little
bone?
what?
I guess I don't know. I don't know
The
the follow
bone
up.
that they found ended up being an animal bone
Oh,
in the campground, but like for a hot second it seemed like there would be some sort of information. His name was something really cute, like
Dior.
Dior.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was Dior.
Dior.
Yeah,
It's so sad.
yeah.
But like that that little boy, like his grandparents were at the camp, his parents were at like the little sandy spot at the river.
Hmm.
There was maybe 30 yards in between the two.
Yeah, they were all really close.
Yeah, and yeah, that one. So like I never had to do search and rescue stuff when I was in the Coast Guard. That wasn't just I just never got stationed in a place that did search and rescue.
Hmm.
But I know that when bodies fall into water, you don't always find them.
Yeah,
So for me, that could be an explanation for several of these is like fast moving water.
yeah,
Like, ooh, buddy, you fall in a river, you get stuck under a log, like you may never come back up again, you know? It could come back up and wash so far down the river, you know?
yeah. I know with the one for the Dior case, the little boy, they did search the river, and I mean, it
I think
was,
they dredged it, right?
yeah. I mean, they went through it really thoroughly. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that one's super sad.
Yeah.
Um, the first documentary, the missing 411, that one's all just children's cases, and that's
Yeah.
Bummersville. That's
Yeah, I kind of avoided that one because I didn't want to get like depressed.
yeah. The kids ones are still strange though. I mean, even if
It's
they got
very weird.
taken by an animal, there's no indication of them getting taken. You know, some people try to be like, oh, well, maybe a large predator bird came in and took them. I mean, they're in
Okay,
the
cool.
areas, but it's like
Where's the
someone.
pterodactyl?
Well, I mean, there's birds big enough that can carry off a 2-year-old. Like,
No, and I know that.
you
I
know,
know that. But I feel like you would hear it
correct. That's kind of the loop or whatever, or like
and
the
you would
fault in
find the
that.
kid. Like, because I don't think that they could carry it off for that far. Like, I've
Not
seen the
without hearing.
hilarious,
Not without
what?
hearing a kid going, "Ah!" Like, I
And the
mean,
beagle itself screaming.
yeah. So,
They're not
um,
a quiet creature.
yeah. Do you want to know what I think, honestly?
Yes, desperately.
So, especially when it comes to like the guy and the crazies, I kind of think that like there was like a jump in time or something. Because like a lot
Yeah.
of this stuff is they find Um, they find the body or remains or something after the area has been searched multiple times, usually. Almost like, I don't know, it's like they fell back in time, sort of a thing. So, like, nobody would have been looking out for them, 50 years before or something, like some weird Outlander shit. Like, that's where my
Yeah, yeah,
heart
yeah, yeah, yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
My heart goes to Outlander, and like these people fell back in time, and of course they weren't discovered.
Dude,
Um,
the tree just banged on the window outside and I like my heart stopped.
or they jumped forward in time, right? And that's why
Yeah,
they were
that's what I was
found,
about to say. Like,
you know, they were
yeah.
missing and they were wandering through the woods at a time when no one was looking for them. So that's my theory, is that like basically some black hole type shit where they jump
Hmm.
through time. I mean, it could be aliens, it's probably aliens, but
I mean, it's almost certainly aliens. But do you want to hear my theory?
yeah, I do.
I think it's the Fae.
You
I
do.
think that, yeah, overwhelmingly, there are cases of children being abducted. And what do the Fae love?
Children.
Delicious babies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like there are benign and more malignant kind of Fae creatures out there. And also, it's a lovely prank for them to accidentally murder us.
Yeah. Yeah, their sense of humor is different.
It's very different. It's very different. And we're very delicate. And it's hilarious to like be like, look, we tricked it.
Yeah. There's another incident too that's talked about that like is more of like in the aliens realm,
Hmm.
that they actually talk about in the documentary. It's like the closest they come to like speculating about a cause, but it's a lady who is hunting and she's on her own property in Ohio, and god damn it. Um and she uh fuck, I'm sorry, Kelly just tried to call me again.
No, Kelly, I know. I love you,
um
Kelly.
but she's hunting on her property in Ohio, and she's taking pictures of herself like, "Oh, look at me, I'm hunting, blah blah blah." And
Hmm.
she's taking pictures, and then there's one picture and then the next second where she's taking a picture, the picture's distorted and it's in a pixel setting that is not possible on her phone, that is not in the software or anything. And she says what she saw with her own eyes looked like it was a blob that was invisible, basically. Like, think like, the invisible cloak or whatever in Harry Potter.
Yeah. Like
Like
when it looks
that
kind of
sort of
like
a thing.
silky shimmery kind of a deal.
Yeah, right, where she could sort of see the outline, but it was basically invisible, and it was this giant blob that like moved from tree to tree, and then just disappeared. And it was one of those, it wasn't there a second before because she had just been staring that direction. It wasn't there, and then it just appeared, and then it moved from tree to tree. She like was taking pictures when it happened, and that's when her camera fucked up, and then it disappeared.
I
And
don't
yeah,
I don't
like
like that. I want to see those pictures.
you can't tell what's in the picture, but it's like a 500 by 200 picture. Like, it's very weird. It's like you can see like one sort of side of like her face, and then the rest of it's like completely distorted, basically. I guess the dude David, man, he is fucking thorough as shit. They talked to Verizon, which is her carrier. They talked to, them about like program, like software and all that. Like, how is this possible? And like, it's not possible. Like, it's not possible for that type of pixel size or whatever. Like, that image size is impossible in the software. There's no way she could have chosen it. Even like a glitch thing, not possible. So
Dude,
super weird.
it's the Fae, man.
She's never gone back there. And that's her own property. She's like, I've never gone back. I've never hunted there again.
No, I don't blame her. She is like some sort of a weird creature that lives in that. That's its land. Mm-mm. She
Yeah,
might
for
pay the
real.
taxes on it. That shit's his though.
Yeah, one of my new favorite podcasts. It's called THC, but it's like the
History Channel.
No, it's called The Higher something, and of course now I can't remember it, but he did an interview with David, and I liked how he speculated towards the end. He talked about, this is a predator that we basically can't perceive, essentially. It's very possible that it's a predator we can't perceive.
Like
Um,
Predator?
no, not like predator, but like, you know, the way lions are predators for,
No, I know, but I was just thinking of like the thing that you saw like barely like in the tree, like because it can go. Shut up.
I mean, yeah, like predator, like I mean, whether it's a supernatural predator or a predator that we literally can't
A
perceive.
preternatural predator.
I, fucking something. I don't know. I mean, I think it would be interesting to take a Native American perspective on it though, and like if it's like cursed lands, like places you just literally don't
Or I was just thinking
go.
about doing some research into some of the native fae creatures that are out there, like
Yeah, I
because
think that'd
like
be
there's
interesting.
what?
I said I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, because I know that there's a lot of interesting things that are supposed to be wandering around in Montana.
Yeah.
Um, like I can't remember what it's called, but it's this animal where one of its side like it's got four legs. It looks kind of like a buffalo kind of a thing, but
Mhm.
one set of legs on like one half its body are short and the other are long, so it can like walk along the hillside
Weird.
nicely. But it can only walk in one way, so it has to walk in a big circle.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, the way it was described on the Myths and Legends podcast, it sounded like a really like maybe I picture everything like it's a Muppet.
Does that make you feel better about it?
Kind of, honestly, it makes me feel better about most things. Feel like it's a Muppet. Meh.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
an axe murderer, it's a Muppet axe murderer.
No, mostly just weird creatures in the woods. Dude, that is crazy. That's crazy.
Dude,
I enjoy being in the woods, but I don't want to disappear in them.
so you need a personal locating beacon and a gun.
And a firearm. Cool. Noted. Noted. I know what to ask for Christmas now.
Yeah, even archers, like archery hunters, whatever they're
Yeah,
called,
yeah, I know what archers are.
um, they disappear. If they don't have a firearm, they disappear. But if they have a firearm, they don't disappear.
I wonder if it has anything to do with iron.
I don't know, maybe either whatever it is, right, can
I don't know if the
clearly.
indigenous Fae are sensitive to iron in the way that some of the Fae of like the British Isles are.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know that much
I
about the
also know
Fae.
that some of them like are pretty much worldwide.
Going after those Germans though.
Dude.
Whoever it is hates Germans.
Well, it's like Kathleen Madigan said, like, I don't quite trust the Germans yet. Who
Who
said
does?
they were allowed to play?
Nobody really does. So,
No. I think we're all just a little bit like, okay, Hans,
yeah.
we'll
Right.
see. We'll see.
I swear I'm innocent.
No, I don't know. There's something, it's because we were raised on the History Channel and it was all just World War II atrocities. I was like,
Well,
I don't know, man.
yeah. I mean, also just American propaganda. So, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, it's the History Channel.
America's the best. You know what's funny? You know what I just thought about is like,
It was either the rise of like Hitler's war machine or it was mysteries of the Bible.
you know what?
When did they find what is it, Noah's Ark?
You know, my favorite thing though is like our only international listeners are from Germany.
Oh
And
no!
we just completely alienated if they ever listen again. I don't know if they
Oh,
listen regularly,
I would
but yeah.
imagine they have a good sense of humor if they're listening to us.
Yeah, it's funny, just funny.
It is funny. It's
Yeah.
funny.
But yeah, I mean, so this is like a weird one. There's no explanation, always ongoing research into it. If you are interested in it, I would definitely suggest looking into those different documentaries. They're free on YouTube with ads.
Cool.
So you can watch both of them. They also have a channel, which is the Can Am Missing. That's like the Canadian
Canadian
American
American.
missing, but it's called Can Am. So the Can Am Missing YouTube channel, like they do regular updates. Like David regularly updates it and talks about new cases. I mean, there's 8 books where it's like 100 cases basically in each
Good
book.
God.
It's extremely thorough. So
Well,
I
this
think that's
sounds
why
like
it's so
something that we
interesting.
can really mine. Because this was a good overview, but I feel like there's a lot more to really deep dive into in
Oh
this
man,
subject. Like,
there's literally hundreds of cases we could talk about. Hundreds.
oh my
Um,
God,
so
that's terrifying.
if anyone listening is interested, I would also suggest going on canammissing.com, where they have a lot of cases and they have links to the books. On Amazon, the books are like $100 each.
Ah,
On the website, they send links to actually the Bigfoot website, where the books are available for purchase for like 25 bucks. But
like beef row,
what?
beef row,
I don't remember what it's called. I
the
don't
Bigfoot
remember.
Research Organization.
Something, but I only found it by looking up the Can-Am missing. But
Mm,
so I'll probably end up buying books and reading them because I'm so into this topic. Like I'm so invested in it.
excellent.
Um, yeah, I'm so fascinated by it. But um,
It's truly terrifying because like I was gonna go camping soon.
yeah. So now you know. Bring a personal locating beacon and a gun.
I
So
don't have money for either of those things.
I think the personal locator beacon, I think you can get for like 20 bucks on Amazon, something like that. So,
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
I get a
It's
firearm
worth your life.
frighteningly cheap in
So,
Idaho too.
I mean, just go
Probably,
just go
probably
camping in a RV park or something. I don't know. Where there's
no.
um but
If
anywho,
you're not
I
maybe
don't
gonna die, I don't want to do it.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I
That's
don't have
what
anything
makes it
more
an
to add about this
adventure.
though. Do you have
Oh yeah, no,
anything?
I don't have anything to add either other than dear National Park Service, please put a fucking list together.
I
Just
think that
write
they
down
have.
right well, thanks. Good. Good job then. Good
I don't
God.
know for sure though. I don't know. I want to
I
say
don't know
that they
why that's
started
blowing my mind so goddamn badly, but it is.
I think because it's one of those things like you would just expect them to have a list. If they have a list of like what movies have been filmed in their
Yeah.
parks, you would think they would have a list of missing persons.
Yeah, especially
So,
as, like when I went to the Grand Canyon, there was like in every fucking uh thrift store, not thrift store, tourist shop in there, like every single park shop, it has a over the edge deaths in the Grand Canyon, because
yeah.
like and my dad definitely bought that and like read it to me as we're like wandering the Grand Canyon. I'm like, cool. I don't hate heights a lot, Dad.
Don't fall to your death.
Literally. Yeah, we
Uh,
had a really good trip though. That was fun. He was like, "Do you want to go to the glass sky bridge?" It's like, I'd rather die.
but
Genuinely
anywho,
die.
anywho,
Weird.
uh,
Weird.
very strange. Very,
The desert, the desert aspects of it make me think of aliens, but
yeah. I
I think
mean,
it's
New
cute.
Mexico. New Mexico, like you, of course, like Santa Fe, New Mexico, like I
New
think
Mexico is like that's where the aliens like to vacation.
correct. So, or do their experiments. So, you know,
Exactly. Maybe it's where they have to go to work.
yeah, right. It's
Um,
their job.
yeah,
They
that
go to
sucks.
Montana for vacation.
For their vacay, so they can just disappear old dudes.
Yeah, yeah.
Did they
That one
ever
happened
find
in
him?
New York, but no, they never found him. They've never found any trace of him at all. So, and they've looked like dozens of times. So, I mean, it was an extremely extensive search,
Faye.
but yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think all
that's
right.
about true.
Well,
So,
thanks for thanks for joining us for this tin hat time that has me pretty well mind boggled. I must say this has been a good one, Megan.
yeah,
Thank you for this.
you're welcome.
Yeah,
So,
gonna get to feel real uncomfortable on my hikes.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's the thing that struck me about this is the huge amount of cases and evidence that have been compiled about this phenomena and mystery. So, I think that's the most interesting thing. A lot of the stuff that we get interested in does not have this amount of sheer research into it. I mean, I like facts. I like the facts. I enjoy, when there's more to the story that we can actually pinpoint, So,
Yeah.
but anywho, thank you everybody for joining us for this mystery. We probably will revisit it again at some point.
Yeah.
Um, but please like, share, rate, review, subscribe. We would appreciate it so
Subscribe's the
much.
big one, you guys. Subscribe's the big one, and it's just one click.
Yeah. I mean, reviews also, they boost us, right? Like the more
Yeah, and
reviews we have,
the ratings and the subscriptions
yeah,
are the big ones.
we really need them. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining us,
Yeah, you
guys.
can also email us at
Oh yeah.
10hattimepodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear your stories. Tell us about all your weird shit. Did you ever go into the woods with a queen dipshit and you thought that you guys were going to be dead forever? Tell me about it.
Yeah, please let us know. Please just let us know your weird stories. We'd love to hear them. But anywho,
Yeah.
we'll see you next time on
Yeah.
Tin Hat Time.
10 hat time.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.